probably my favorite role of yours. If all things are, I mean, I enjoy the others, but there's something about ODAI Ventrell from Bounty that I just found to be delicious, because he kind of owns the room that he's in. You know, no one really messes with him. He really is, I think, the closest analog to Boba Fett that SG-1 had, despite the fact that there were a number of bounty hunters throughout the years. You carried that character with such swagger. Tell us about getting that role and going to Earth and going to Cameron Mitchell's prom.
I know, right? What a wild episode.
Right.
I mean, about it, right? Well, again, fortunate enough to have Peter DeLuise as a friend, as a fan of my work. So, yeah, and I, was an audition like everybody else, and I auditioned, and I ended up getting it. And I was so thrilled that, reading the sides and reading the script, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Like it was really fun. And then Anne-Marie DeLuise was there.
Right.
Right. And then all of the Stargate team was there, right? From Amanda to Shanks to everybody. And I just was like, oh my gosh, this is so, and doing scenes with everybody there. Right?
Claudia Black,
and Claudia Black,
him
and Claudia she was so amazing. We had so much fun, and they were so open and open to my portrayal of this character. And then we just played with each other, and we had such a good time. And yeah, that was one of those fun roles, right? That you sit there and go, oh my gosh, I wish every role could be like that. I would have loved, honestly, that would have been a great character to play in a series.
Agreed. Yeah, he came in too late. I think that, had it gone on for like a season 11, 12, like they were talking with Apple, that character would have been back. There was some play there for some good stuff.
I think so. I hope so. I mean, who knows at the end of the day? But yeah, that would have been fun. But again, story of my career, it seems like I get on a show, and every once in a while, it's the last season, or it's done in the
right.
Instead of go, is it me? Did I do something wrong? What's going on?
What is it that's so freeing about playing villains? Especially the ones that have zero like emotional foibles whatsoever.
It's just. It's fun. For lack of a better term, it's just such a good time. And you get to do things that normally you'd go to jail for.
Right.
Am I right? Like,
yeah. Simulated.
I shoot people. Yeah, simulated. But you shoot people, or you blow up a building, or you blow up a spaceship, or all these crazy things. You take people hostages, and then after the scene's done, everybody claps.
Right. Instead of runs for their lives.
Instead of having the cops cuff you and send you off to jail. Right.
Oh, that's funny.
So, and it's freeing. Come on. I think what being an actor, what's amazing about that is playing scenes like this or playing these characters. It's freeing. You're able to do things that you can't do in the normal world, so to speak. That's why they have, what is it? Those, so you know how some people have those rooms where you just go in and break everything, or you can, people have these
therapy,
right?
For some people.
And definitely, like when you're able to do all this stuff, you come home and you're like, I feel so much better,
There are, you hear people describe themselves, oh, I'm a good person. I'm a this, I'm a that. There is something to be said for the darker aspects of our nature. And not that we should like give into them, but I also think that it's a mistake to ignore them, because if something truly sets you off in a terrible situation that you weren't expecting, you are capable of unlocking certain doors and doing certain deeds, either to protect your family or to protect yourself. And I think it's important, that we examine those aspects of ourselves and know what we're truly capable of, so that we can keep our swords sheathed. And we all have one, whatever it may be. And in your case, with some of these villains, you get to study those aspects of your nature and truly think about, okay, how would I handle this situation if I were actually doing it? And what can I actually let out but controlled in this situation?
That's a great point. For me, growing up, immigrant family, so from the former Yugoslavia, even though I was born in Montreal, everybody else in my family was born in Yugoslavia. And, we were an immigrant family, poor immigrant family. So my dad would dress me in like a corduroy suit, and I'd have my name stamped on every article of clothing I had. Right. And I had white hair and broken teeth, and we couldn't. So I got made fun of a lot. And so you learn at some point, okay, well, have to defend myself. I have to do something. My brother was tough. So he taught me how to defend myself. And then I was able to do so. And then I ended up getting respect from that, which is, you don't hear about that nowadays, right? Because it's so taboo. Oh, no, bullies are bullies and you can't fight. You have to talk. No, well, sometimes
you can't get walked on.
You can't get walked on.
Yeah.
But having said that, and as I grew up, and even as a teenager, getting into fights and doing stuff, fighting was always something, not that I enjoyed, but it was part of who I was. And so when I look back at some characters that I've played, and I could react to, oh, how would I have, 20 years ago or 15 years ago, how would I have responded to this situation? And then I could infuse some of that into the character. But obviously, listen, when you're a cannibal or when you're killing somebody, I've never done that stuff. So
yeah,
that goes, the imagination starts to take over at that point.
It's interesting that you bring that. I'm getting an image of Varro in my. We'll get to Varro in a minute here, but just as an aside, I have this image of him in the medical bay, and he had this trigger where he could be perfectly placid and reasonable, and then he gets into a situation where, I mean, he blew a bullet through a guy at close range.
No,
and it was just like that. I remember watching it. I was shocked because he just turned on a dime. And it's like,
but it was that fight or flight thing, right?
Right.
And you never know how you're going to react in that situation. And I've been there in these dark situations. So I've seen guys totally freeze, and you would never expect. And I've seen other people that all of a sudden they rise up, and you're like, oh my God, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where I could see where this character could turn, and it's fight or flight. I have to save this situation.
Right. Absolutely.
And he's a soldier, right? At the end of the day, he's at Lucian Alliance. He was a soldier, right?
Yeah. He's got to eat. Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.